Hello and welcome to AdaPulse, well, a nighttime edition of AdaPulse, the community-funded news channel that keeps you up to date with all the news and emerging projects that are in and around the Cardano ecosystem. And remember, because we're community-funded, there is no coin shilling or paper motion. We don't discuss token price. We're just here to disseminate information and deliver it to you in a way that's easy for you to understand. Now, today, this is an article by BlockSplained, one of the newer members of the team, making a big impact. He's got some well-researched articles, and you would have seen him on our YouTube channel doing his real in-depth interviews on some of the emerging projects. And he's done a great and well-researched article here, from jungle chaos to crypto clarity, addressing some of the issues that are holding us back. And don't forget to stay to the end, because in the conclusion, I think BlockSplained and I have a slightly different opinion here. So it's up to you to see how you feel about that. But do remember to click the like button, hit subscribe, and hit that bell button so you can get notified as soon as we've got content available. And I'm Josh from ATM Stake Pool, your presenter for AdaPulse for today. Let's just crack straight on with the article. So obviously today we're going to discuss the top 3 problems that need to be solved for us to, open the floodgates, if you will, to mass adoption. Now BlockSplained is actually living in Thailand, for those who don't know. I don't know if I'm doxing him by saying that, but he's got this story. And so I'm going to tell you the story. A group of blind men heard that a strange animal called an elephant had been brought to the town, but none of them were aware of its shape or its form. So out of curiosity, they said, we must inspect and know it by touch, of which we are capable. So they sought it out. And when they found it, they groped it. And the first ones, whose hand was on the trunk said, this being is like a thick snake. For another one who reached its ear, it seems like some kind of fan. And as for another person who's, had got his hand on its leg, said, the elephant is like a pillar, like a tree trunk. And the blind man who placed his hand upon its side of the elephant said it's like a wall. Another who felt its tail described it as a rope. The last who felt its tusk, stating that the elephant of which is hard, smooth, and like a spear. Now, this story is taken from an early Buddhist text, Tittha Sutta Udana 6.4, Kudana Nikaya. I hope I've said all that right, and that's because it's dated around 500 BC. I'll include links about it in the description below. But much like these blind men, many of us engaged in the crypto space have the same affliction. Unfortunately, we've been so focused on creating solutions within the crypto space that we fail to take note of the bigger implications. We're just seeing what we're seeing in our narrow view, like we have blinkers on. Only to get pounded to the ground this past year with constant hacks and bankruptcies and things. And so we've lost sight of the bigger picture, is what he's saying. And it can be very easy to get carried away in your own work and social circles and not notice that you've begun to fall astray from the path. And what do we think he means by this? Crypto in general is developing at a rapid rate, with dApps and NFT launches flying through crypto Twitter, left, right, center. But in reality, many of these projects kind of are just following the same path. The low-hanging fruit of DeFi, and every DEX is just a copy of one another. They're all, pretty much the same. And how many more 10,000 minted AI-generated art collections do we really need? So what his point is innovation seems to be slowing slightly, and especially innovation to the problems that are actually required, are all but tapering to a drip, essentially, is what he's saying. And it's required once in a while to step back, relook at the space, kind of from the first principles. What was crypto designed for? Decentralized, secure, scalable ledgers. What's the point of creating really fast scalable layer 1 like Solana, for example, when you trade decentralization for speed? You've basically created another Web 2 app similar to like Amazon, AWS or Google Cloud or something. But also, what do we need to solve for mass adoption? And that is how do we now get people to use the tech that has been built en masse? How do we get it to the wider public? There's no point in making another DeFi project when it's not going to be able to affect the people it's designed to, because they're not onboarded into crypto. Now, today, we're going to lay out the most significant challenges and problems that need to be solved in order for all the tech currently built to start getting, some actual use. Problem 1, decentralized identification, or DIDs. Now, one of, if not the most complicated problems yet to be fully solved and implemented, is that of identification. How do you tie a person to a wallet? Now, this is a discussion that seems to me to be going on forever, definitely at least since 2017. So you might be asking what the need for identity is. Wasn't blockchain set up so you don't need to verify yourself or create an account? Because at the end of the day, it's permissionless. Yes, and in many ways, that's completely true, and it's the way it should be. It'd be great if there was, in some ways, no IDs and KYCs, as introduction of these, sort of aspects does potentially open the door for censorship and allows for overreach by governments. However, it's important to look at the bigger picture, as we're saying. For crypto to begin getting that sort of mass adoption and that traction, we need big institutions like banks and insurance companies to come on board. In regular financial world, identity is the foundation on which a business is built. You just have to know who you are, doing business with, who you're dealing with, if not for your own security, but also to comply with certain financial regulations or whatever. Now, any business holding client funds, and that could be anyone, and that's not just banks. Lawyers often hold funds. Many companies hold funds for their clients. But so in doing so, they need to perform KYC and AML. And if you didn't know, KYC is know your customer, and AML is anti-money laundering. And they've got to do these checks by law in most countries. And banks, looking to give out loans, they've also got to perform credit checks as well, on the very base level of that. So, yeah, okay, we do have DeFi lending, but at the moment, every protocol needs to use collateral to secure the loan. And usually the collateral is a lot bigger than, the value of the loan itself. So if the whole world ran off this principle, growth would probably, be pretty much non-existent. So annoying as it seems, we need the old-fashioned world, or at least bits of it, to achieve wider adoption and facilitate growth in the DeFi space. Now, the balance between traditional finance practices and the benefits of decentralization, aptly named RealFi, is got to be found. And that will require on-chain identification. So what are the proposed solutions? Well, there's centralized identification. The simplest solution is to take what already works and just use it in crypto. Have a centralized authority like a government or large corporation and have them verify the identification using real-world documents and link it to an address, possibly using a non-transferable NFT, something like that. So while this solution works and is pretty easily implemented, it sort of breaks the point of crypto being decentralized. Because obviously, what if that provider goes down, or what if they began to censor or charge like crazy rates or something like that? So ideally, we want to find a solution that is decentralized and on-chain. And we have biometrics, which is a pretty promising solution. So like, for example, you could have an NFT minter contract that takes some biometric data, such as fingerprints, and it returns some non-transferable NFT hash to the account if that biometric is actually unique. So now let's say we have addresses linked to verified human beings. We move to the next step, which would be identification. So for privacy reasons, most people, don't want their ID to be openly displayed against their address. However, when interacting with an entity that requires identification, you can choose to send in your biometric data, which can be checked against the NFT hash on your address. So in this way, a user can choose to whom they identify themselves. Now, the problem of decentralized on-chain identity is actually a pretty complex problem to solve. And there's quite a few projects, attempting to tackle it from many different angles. And so while it goes against the freedom and privacy pillars that blockchain was kind of set up on, it is obviously a necessary evil that we need to accept for the overall benefit and growth of the space. And let's not forget, it could be a handy thing. How many passwords have you forgotten or whatever? Imagine you could just connect your wallet and you're in, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, whatever. You have one identity for all. It works on the internet. I think it'd be great. Problem 2, custody. 99% of people will lose crypto storing in self-custody, says Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao, or mostly known as CZ. He's obviously going to be probably a bit biased in this case, with Binance probably being one of the biggest crypto custodians alongside the world's biggest exchange, But in this case, he could be potentially correct. I've done videos on this before. There are risks, and I have taught you how to mitigate them. So I'm going to create a new playlist, which is like a complete noob playlist. So, and you control it through there and find it there. Now, there are 2 aspects to self-custody that are probably are important to point out. Now, the first is the average knowledge base of the median soon-to-be kind of crypto hodler. So while it may be easy for the initiated to move around assets and set up wallets, for the general sort of average guy, it's a slide to madness as they see their account getting drained by an email scam the minute they withdraw their funds from Binance. And it's also not reasonable to teach these skills to everybody. We often say we need more education, but I mean, it's 2023 and we've barely managed to move the majority to online banking. People are still signing checks, let alone teaching them about public and private encryption protocols. We need to build a dumb, idiot-proof UI UX interfaces and systems for the masses. Not because they're dumb or they lack the mental cognition, but simply because the average person doesn't give a shit. They haven't got the interest or maybe even the time to learn about it. The future system of money and computation should just work like out the box. No installation required, 0 complexity, and just friendly, intuitive UI. Security. Now, BlockSplained is happily disclosing that he's bought himself a hardware wallet. I mean, I actually have a hardware wallet as well. And he's transferred nearly all his Cardano from his browser's hot wallet to cold storage. Don't know if that's a good thing to disclose, but he has anyway. But he's saying how easy it was. But one thing that struck him was the seed phrase for all of his wealth is now on this simple bit of card with the Ledger logo bang on top of it. So if anyone comes across this, his crypto is obviously gone. Now, with crypto storage, we have basically gone back in time a little bit, where you keep your gold coins under your floorboards or your mattress or your house, basically with the gold being your seed phrase and your private key. And that's written on a bit of paper or engraved in metal, like in videos I've done before with CryptKeeper. There's loads of other methods of storing your seed phrase, obviously. But not to mention the removal of the weight variable, your wealth becomes much more stealable, really. I mean, just imagine a future where everybody has self-custody and their life savings in crypto stores their keys on their own property. How many more break-ins do you think we're going to see a year when the potential theft value is not capped at just your big TV or your PlayStation, but 2 million Bitcoin hiding in a bookmark in a book, But, most people would be clever by that point and would be encrypting those. But what BlockSplained is really getting at is that if self-custody isn't a viable option and third-party custody is in shambles, like if you think of FTX and BlockFi, whatever, losing the public trust for the foreseeable future, where would the average guy go? And this is why he's listed it as one of the biggest problems. The solution for custody of the global population's crypto is probably going to look something like a hybrid between a regulated and possibly decentralized 2-factor authentication multi-sig solution. But it will need to be so easy a child could use it, and have the security guarantees of a bank with a type of FDIC and also have some sort of aspect of decentralization where a government or corporation can't lock or confiscate your funds. Problem 3, interoperability. Now, interoperability is actually quite a big problem that affects every chain. So, but not only is it's not just a technical problem, it's also a tribal one or ego, whichever way you want to look at it. Now, take Wi-Fi, for example. So you can connect any device to a Wi-Fi network if you got the password. How annoying would it be if iPhones could only connect to Apple routers or something like that? But I mean, if you think about it, even banks, you couldn't use certain bank cards in other bank machines, but now you can because they saw the benefit of the interoperability. Now, so I think we can all agree that interoperability is key to the success of the blockchain technology as a whole, and also one of the reasons that we're so passionate about Cardano, where this is embedded into our core. This is what we signed up for. This is what it's all about. And interoperability ties in directly with user experience. If we are to onboard the masses, the user experience needs to be seamless. We can't be having people create 20 different wallets for each layer one and use exchanges as a crypto kind of highway, let alone the knowledge needed to be able to operate in these different chains, like safely. The main problem behind this is that most layer ones believe that, like it's Highlander, there could be only one, or it's, Lord of the Rings, the one chain to rule them all and will eventually beat out every other chain. But I can grant you, this isn't actually going to be the case. And, while we see a few major layer ones take the market share in the coming 5 or 10 years and establish themselves as the new Web3 base layers, there'll be a load of niche solutions that we all need to work with each other to of mutual benefit. So all technology building on blockchain now should be taking interoperability as serious and as a mission critical component, and throw aside the tribalism and the egos. We need to build bridges, not roadblocks, for the sake of the whole crypto space. End note. Now, we're not pretending this is the limitation of the problems surrounding crypto, be it privacy, user experience, regulation. The tech and solutions that need to be built are seemingly endless. However, from the standpoint of just mass adoption, we believe that these 3 issues are the largest hurdles that are currently standing in the way. The projects that find viable solutions will see some of the biggest growth and rewards in the coming years. So if you're looking to build a project in the space, we advise you to think about these issues for ideas rather than just creating another DEX or AI generated NFT project or another wallet even. But BlockSplained ended it with his article with this: innovate, don't replicate, which is a nice little phrase, but I'm not sure I totally agree with that, because there are certain innovations that I would be happy to see replicated. So take a look at this pretty lady, for example. Some of you may recognize her as Elsa Jean, the OnlyFans star who created spicy hidden content that is unlocked with NFTs and that's on Cardano. So for those who don't know, she basically added the ability to her website where you can buy an NFT that unlocks content on her website and gives you access to sort of new and unseen footage. It also gives you access to her. You can chat with her on Discord directly. It's crazy. And it's not that I'm a dirty old man, but I heavily support this kind of endeavor. She has she probably has a larger reach than Charles Hoskinson when you consider all the platforms that she's on. And these are all to non-crypto people. And there are plenty of people out there like her who can do the same thing. And obviously it doesn't have to end there, with sort of adult content. Musicians and celebrities can also do the same thing. And for them, they are connected closer to their fan base, and vice versa. The fan base can connect with them. But mainly, it's bringing people to Cardano and crypto as a whole, even, which is what it's all about. So let's end it with, yes, we don't need more copy-paste dexes or AI-generated NFT projects, but we need others to imitate the success of others like Elsa outreaching to a new market and bring more value to the network. So that's where we're going to end it for today. Please do remember to click the like button and hit subscribe and hit that bell button so you can get notified as soon as we've got content available. And share far and wide. Keep telling everyone we're an educational platform. We want to reach as many people as possible. But enough of that. I'm Josh from ATM Stake Pool, your presenter for AdaPulse for today. I'll see you next time. Thank you.